we're going to do our review for tonight. So take a look at this nonsense. Another fill in the blank. And of course, you know, as soon as I finished it, I thought of more stuff to put in, but this is enough. This will certainly give you plenty to think about.
I can't see the top. Yeah, there you go.
Excuse me. So, blank begins when the blank enters Libra.
All in the sun.
Yep, there we go. Fall. And the sun enters Libra. It is called
the autumn equinox.
Yep. Oh boy. An equinox positions the sun on the axis of the
Equator.
Yeah. Both are of equal length. So there's an end in there since I'm talking about both.
Days and nights.
Mm-hmm. Are of equal length. Then the sun begins to travel.
South.
No.
Okay.
It took me a while to think about that too. North of the
okay.
equator. Think of a horoscope, of the horoscope wheel. Remember, you're standing in the middle. You're standing in the middle and you're looking south.
South.
So east is on your left, north is behind you, west is on your right, not mine, and south is before you. So it's going north.
North.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When it's at Libra, when it's going north, huh?
In the astrology of it or in the actuality of it?
In the astrology of it. The days get blank and nights.
Shorter.
Well, what about the days? They get shorter, yeah. And the nights?
Or longer.
Okay. Libra is. So I have 3 things here. What do you think I'm looking for?
Whether it's mutable or something.
Yep.
No.
Cardinal, air. Male.
Yep. And what was the other sign that we talked about last week?
Scorpio.
Taurus. Oh,
Is
Scorpio.
water.
Fixed.
Female.
What's another way to describe male and female? What are other words we could use?
Polarity.
Aries.
Excuse me.
Positive
Polarity?
and negative.
Positive and negative. What's another? What are two others?
Yin and yang.
Yin and yang is there. Well, keep going.
Positive, negative.
Assertive and submissive or receptive.
Mhm.
Both signs are member of. So it's an air sign and
The last
a
degree
water.
of emanation.
What degree?
I said last. Is that the third or the fourth?
No, it's not the
Second.
last. It's the
Second.
Third. Oh, second. Oh gosh. Okay.
Emanation.
These signs fall on the blank and blank house cusps up in a natural horoscope.
7th and 8th.
Okay. Court cards of the sacred tarot are connected to signs according to their,
Not sure.
I do remember I mentioned that, probably didn't emphasize it, but I did mention it. So I'll give you
What
this
cards?
one.
Secretary.
According to their degree of emanation. So the first four signs in the zodiac are the kings. The second four signs of the zodiac are queens. And the
Queens.
last four signs of the zodiac, or the third degree of emanation, the first degree of emanation is the first four signs. The second degree of emanation is the second three signs. And the third degree of emanation are the last four signs. So the first, and there, I just gave you the answer to this, are by the kings,
Kings,
and the
Second
second
three.
by
queens.
queens. Okay. Scorpio is unique. Oh, I mean, the symbols and keywords for Libra are, I could have combined this because
The scales,
okay, that's the symbol, yeah.
The
Coin.
balance.
And what's the keyword?
I
Justice?
I balance.
We are,
Right
oh,
balance, okay. And it is ruled by
Venus,
and often referred to as the
give us a hint.
it's on the seventh house, right?
Relationship.
Yeah, yeah, so
And marriage, partnership, yeah.
sign. Scorpio is unique in that it has blank symbols,
Two symbols,
and they are
snake and eagle,
not snake,
serpent.
not serpent,
Wait a minute.
Scorpion.
Yeah. that's-
scorpion.
Okay.
Indicative of the signs.
Dual nature,
Hello. Blank is its keyword.
oh,
Desire.
I desire. Scorpio also has two,
planets,
Rulers.
they're not called planets in this instance. They are planets, but what are they called? What type of relationship do those planets have to Scorpio? They are its
Ruler.
rulers,
ruler, yeah. And the other planet is
Mars.
Mars. Okay.
oh boy.
Oh, it's not that bad, girl. Come on. Did well. Okay, so let's read this together. Fall begins when the sun enters Libra. It is called the autumnal equinox. An equinox positions the sun on the axis of the equator. Both day and night are of equal length. Then the sun begins to travel north of the equator. The days get shorter and nights longer. By the way, the fall winter season is shorter than the spring summer season. And why do you think that might be? What do you think that could be symbolic of?
The relationship between good and evil, where good is just a little bit longer or more than evil, and that
You're on
good
fire
wins.
tonight, girl.
No, no, I'm not. That's
What?
luck.
Well, you knew where to look in your notes. You're on fire. That's good, yes. That Libra is cardinal, air, and male. Scorpio is water, fixed, and female. Both signs are members of the second degree of emanation. These signs fall on the 7th and 8th house cusps in the natural horoscope. Why do I qualify it as the natural horoscope?
Because
Because
in an individual
not by the
horoscope,
birth
they could be
chart.
different.
It's
Natal.
not by the birth time, because the birth time can change the position of all of the signs on the cusps. Okay,
Mhm.
and there is a way to do this. If you would take a minute and draw yourself a circle and divide it into 12 sections. Piece of scrap paper, because you know I've got it for you already. It hasn't been posted, but you'll get it. The ascendant is the first house on the left.
East,
Yeah, it is east, but it's on your left,
left,
below the equator,
horizon.
or the horizon. Yep. And so, but don't put Aries there. Put 6 a.m. on that equator. So opposite that, all the way on the other side would be
6 p.
6 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So at the top of the chart, where Capricorn would be, it is 12 noon. And the opposite would be
12 midnight.
12 midnight. Okay. Now fill in the rest of the houses in between, counting by twos. So let's say that your Queens, yeah, I'm talking about New York, and Queens is a borough in the city of New York. I said, what is Queens doing there? But then I had to read, oh my goodness. Anyhow, let's say we're doing the chart of a person whose sun is in Virgo. And this Virgo person tells us that they were born at 8 o'clock at night, 8 p.m. Looking at that clock you just made, where would their sun be? Where could their sun be? Your sun would be in the 6th house. Do you see it? Let's take another one. Let's take Sagittarius. It's a person who is born during the sun of Sagittarius. And they tell us that they were born at 2 a.m. Where would their sun be? Someplace around.
The
Third house.
Yeah. So now you can figure out, you can ballpark an ascendant. That's how you ballpark an ascendant. You can't tell anybody anything definite. You can say your sun might be yada, 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 because there are a lot of other factors that go into this. Yeah, if you have looked at an ephemeris and compared it to the dates that I've given you for the beginning and end of the planets, you may see some variation. That's because of the sun doesn't appear to travel at the same rate all the time. Apparently, the sun travels a little faster during the winter because it's shorter and it has to get through 180 degrees. And then it languishes and enjoys itself in the spring and summer. So, does everybody have a horoscope? Okay, good. Yeah. Because when you compare these descriptions to your own horoscope, you will get different insights, and it will also help you to sync the information into memory. So, use your own horoscope as your first reference, and then you start to collect other horoscopes. First, of the people that you know relatively well, so that you can compare what's going on in their horoscope to what you already know about them. And looking at their horoscope, you might even see a couple other things, because as you know, we don't reveal our full self all the time. Now, just a minute. Yeah, okay. Now, these are the, can you see, did you see anything? Did you see the screen change? Okay, let me get the new share up then. Okay. This document is in Google Drive. It's called, oh boy. You see, I organized too well. It's called Zodiac Signs. You know, it puts the signs in their different categories under qualities, triplicities, and emanations. And then you have the keywords and their best and worst qualities. The other document that's, it hasn't been posted yet, but again, it outlines how scepters, cups, swords, and coins, which element of sign they associate with, and the aces, the cardinal signs, the fixed signs, and the movable signs.
Vanessa, you posted
Beautiful,
that
Sophia.
on November 1st.
Excuse me?
You posted that on November 1st.
Oh, great, thank you. Oh, Rodney, you're so good. Thank you so much. And this one, as I said, I just posted this afternoon. Rodney demanded a chart. So I created one. This is a chart with all of the signs. That includes their major arcana influence and their minor arcana association. You see that the initial sign, the whole sign, is connected to a court card. And here we got, the first 4 signs, 1, 2, 3, 4, Aries to Cancer, first degree of emanation. We have 2 cardinal signs in there, so it's about me. The next 4 signs, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and you mean you're not going to be cooperative? Oh, I tell you, damn it. And Scorpio are represented by the queens, and they're the second degree of emanation. Yeah, I'm pretty important, but I'm going to listen to you a little more carefully. And Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, the last degree of emanation, are associated with the youth cards. And I'm going to listen to what you have to say before I do anything. I might still do what I want, but I'm going to listen to you very carefully first. Now, all of these cards do not represent, if you had the youth of cups in a tarot reading, it would not necessarily mean a Pisces person specifically. What it
Can you
indicates is
repeat that, Vanessa? Can you say that again?
if the youth of cups was thrown in a tarot reading, it does not mean you're going to be dealing with a Pisces person, but a person with a Pisces temperament. And that's what all
Okay.
of the court cards indicate, a person of that temperament.
Mhm.
So temperament is often indicated by the ascendant. That's how a person, because if you're coming in contact with a person of a Pisces temperament, it's not their whole thing, it's just how they come across.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
Okay, so it would be a good idea if you took a little time and looked at these charts. You see, I have the symbols for each one on the, ooh, I messed up. On the bottom, there's only Scorpio. There should be a Pisces sign in between that. So if you could put that Pisces sign in there, I will try to correct it and post it again. And now my dog is eating. Okay. So we're going to, okay, we have a new share. And now we're going, it's about, you see it?
Yeah, that little squirrel or whatever it is, chipmunk.
Yeah, I thought you might enjoy this. It tickled me to no end. I
That's
came,
what
I
I
saw, I
deal with,
forgot
for
what I
real.
was doing, retraced my steps and got distracted on my way back. I have
Mhm.
no idea what's going on. And now I have to pee.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. Okay, so let's get down to astrology 101.
Mhm.
We are doing Sagittarius. That slipped out because I wanted you to tell me. So what is the sign that comes after Sagittarius?
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
Capricorn. So those are the two signs that we're doing tonight. What number in the sequence of astrology is Sagittarius?
8,
9,
9, and so Capricorn is
10.
10.
10. So just just take that into consideration right now. Let's take it and go on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the centaur, half man, half horse. It's a fire sign. Because fire signs are male, it is mutable. It is in the 3rd degree of emanation. It begins, this is the first sign in the 3rd degree of emanation. And the key word is I see. So yeah, a centaur is an unusual creature. What might be the most prominent physical characteristic you would first notice about the centaur?
The hips and thighs.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about with Sagittarius. In the body, it rules the hips and thighs. Because it's a fire sign, it's enthusiastic and energetic. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, so it's very expansive and warm, inviting. It can be magnanimous. Because it's a fire sign, it's aggressive, it's forceful, it's male. So it's a doer more than it is a sit back and see what's going on. It strikes a balance between Aries and Leo. And my sister was a Virgo in a house of fire. Her first daughter was Aries, her second daughter a Leo, and her husband Sagittarius.
Wow.
So they were always happy. And actually, she might have been the most active of them all. She certainly pushed them to be active. Why is that not necessarily unusual?
What was her sign again?
Virgo.
Hmm.
What's Virgo's ruler?
Oh gosh. I forgot.
Mercury.
Mercury. And what does Mercury do?
Communication.
Yeah, communication. The Greek Mercury, or the mythic Mercury.
Messenger.
What was a unique characteristic of him?
They had wings
He had wings where?
on
He
their
could
feet.
fly.
On his feet. That's right. So, and she continues to be active today. So, and it apparently it went very well in her firehouse. She established a wonderful relationship with her daughters, and though I might have gotten into a snit every once in a while, because I did a lot, I spent a lot of time with my nieces, and as a result, I have a great and wonderful relationship with them as adults. And it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. Oh boy, and I pick up the wrong paper. Here we go. I'm good now. So Sagittarius, the dates are November 22nd to December 22nd. In spiritual astrology, it talks about the bow of great promise. And when I think of Sagittarius and look at the symbol, it's an arrow. That bow that I'm thinking about is a quiver, something that launches the arrow. However, it's not talking about a bow, that kind of bow. It's talking about a rainbow. And what does a rainbow symbolize?
Hope.
Yeah. And good luck, and certainly Jupiter is the great benefic. So it can bring abundance, and that's the ruler of Sagittarius. Now, the sign opposite Sagittarius is
Gemini,
Gemini. And Gemini is ruled by
Mercury,
Mercury. Mercury deals with
communication,
communication and thought. That's right. It's also in which house?
which one?
Gemini, thank you.
Third,
It's
Third
also
and
in the third
sixth.
house, and the third house concerns,
travel, relatives, brothers. and
okay,
sisters.
what kind of travel?
Short,
Short term.
Short travel. And what else did you say?
brothers and sisters,
Yep, siblings, what else? Whoops, no, don't want you to see that yet.
the mental,
Yeah, early education.
Mhm.
And Jupiter, it's opposite, deals with higher education.
And
It
long
deals with
journeys.
taking that information and developing it into a philosophy.
Mhm.
Sagittarians are concerned with the law, religion, philosophy, higher education, publishing.
Foreign relationships.
Mhm. So they take what they've learned in early childhood a step further, and they continue research and study. Sagittarian is, we're talking about the higher mind and working on information so that it can benefit mankind in general. Now, not all Sagittarians are so altruistic, but they all have this quality about them. They're teaching, they're teachers. They enjoy being the authority. You know, that impulsive streak of Sagittarius, since we are here dealing with communication, it sometimes leads them to be less tactful than others. They come out the side of their face sometimes with something odd that, where did that come from? And they do not necessarily think before they speak or consider the repercussions of what it is that they've said. So the saying in the sentence in spiritual astrology for Sagittarius, the whole sign. Excuse my dog, she's coughing. True religion is this Penny. Her name is Penny. You see, she tried, right? True religion is the discernment of the divine plan and a conscious cooperation in its fulfillment. And that's what Sagittarians are about. The court card with which Sagittarius is associated is the youth of scepters, because fire signs are represented by scepters. And a person of Sagittarian quality. And again, as I said, the court cards are the only cards in the Egyptian tarot that indicates difference when right side or reversed. And the major arcana card that goes with Sagittarius is the Conqueror. 7. It's called victory, success through using intelligence and the power to command, zeal, enthusiasm. Any of you who attended the Sunday service got a really nice overview of Sagittarian delivered by Debbie Yaffe and her husband. And a lot of, certainly they have their own insights as they are both astrologers and have been doing it for quite a while. As well as they have a great deal of Sagittarian influence, which is also why they were able to deliver so much information in such a short period of time. This simply underlines the reason why you need to study your chart in order to work toward mastery of astrology. Okay. So the verse decanate of Sagittarius is
Sagittarius, Sagittarius.
Sagittarius, Sagittarius. Okay, now you pain in the butt. Okay, and it's called Lyra and Devotion. And devoted to what? One story, the harp on which angels play is Lyra. And Sagittarius allows you to discover the harmonies of sound, of music, and how they can elevate your spirit, your emotion, your desire, in order to achieve spiritual goals. This one story is that of Orpheus, who was very upset because his wife had died. And Orpheus was a lute player. And he was so upset that he went to the underworld. And he played his lute. And the music was so sweet that Pluto, which is also a planet of dual nature, was so impressed that he restored his mate to life. However, that didn't last long, because as he was leading her out of the underworld, he looked back and she disappeared. What other story in the Bible does this remind you of?
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Not necessarily. Who looked back and something happened that they weren't able to
Salt.
continue?
Lot.
Lot.
and his wife.
Lot and his wife.
Yeah.
So looking back symbolizes returning to bad habits and how that hampers your growth. Sagittarians are forward thinkers. So you keep moving forward. You keep moving forward, you have to concentrate on new thought patterns and also to make whatever changes that you need to make. The first decade of Sagittarius is from November 22nd to December 2nd, excuse me, to December 2nd. It also can caution against the destructive consequences of abusive sex or indulgent sex. Because sex is also a furnace in which you can stoke the fires toward great spirituality. What is that dependent upon, however? Your thoughts. Your thoughts create everything. Your thoughts create everything. So you want to keep constructive thoughts. You want to keep positive thoughts. You want to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Because looking back is more detrimental than just holding you up for a minute. You know, bad habits are like a rut. And if any of you have ever gotten stuck in the snow, it's hard to get out of that rut. So that's what looking back does. It puts you in a rut and it impedes your spiritual growth. So on every plane, harmony is life and discord is death. Positive thoughts. Sagittarius and the Conqueror go together. Conqueror talks about victory. And Sagittarius and Jupiter. So this decanent of Sagittarius is all Sagittarius. So you're looking at everything that is associated with Sagittarius and Jupiter and the ninth house. The Seven of Scepters, if it falls in a reading of the Sacred Tarot, it's talking about teaching or publishing. Tells you to rely on your own good judgment. Cautions against excess as well. So the second decanate of Sagittarius would be
Aries,
Sagittarius,
Aries.
Aries. And that's Aquila. It talks about exploration. And the name of the story that goes with it is The Eagle Takes a Trip to Heaven. Well, didn't we just say the eagle was a symbol of Scorpio? How can we have the eagle here? Well, they're close to each other. And the eagle talks about soaring to spiritual heights, which is what Sagittarians are about, or can be about, ultimately, idealistically. Talks about the power of the soul, freeing itself from physical limitations of the environment. This eagle is also a symbol of delving into and exploring the inner plane. So we're talking about hunting, exploring, looking for food, looking for anything, exploring, discovering, higher education, more, wider, broader. Deepening and broadening the power of imagination. And making positive associations, pleasurable associations with the things and goals that you want to achieve. Because the more that you associate something positive with something, the more likely you are to get to where you want to go. This again talks about long journeys. Now, Sagittarius is a mutable sign. Aries is a
movable.
movable sign, right? So you have some of the movable quality here in this decanate of Sagittarius. So it's going to take in what it has to take in from people, and then it's going to go and move on it. It's going to go and explore. It has to find out. It has to satisfy its curiosity. Now, as I was doing this, I thought to myself how interesting it is that you view a sign according to your own personal biases and because of the people that you know. And the Sagittarius that I knew most was my sister's husband. And as I got to know him more, I certainly see more of the positive qualities, because he was a big tease. And when he was that big tease, he didn't think of what was coming out of his mouth. So he often said inappropriate things. Or inappropriate and things that could be construed as hurtful. However, he was an entrepreneur and was pretty successful at it. When they moved from New York City up to Albany, he was unable, well, he chose, not that he was unable, I'm sure he could have done it, but he chose not to start his own business again. And he worked for Montgomery Ward. And I'm dating myself, yeah. He was a part-time worker. He was in the sales department. And he was the highest earning salesman in that department. Why? Because of his friendly, warm, outgoing nature and his ambition. Ambition is part of Aries, and we have Sagittarian, the jovial Jupiter. In sleep, so also this exploration is not, oh boy, words are just escaping me, confined to the physical. It also talks about the inner plane, spiritual realms, philosophy, anything. In sleep, the soul wanders on the wings of its desires to the region most attractive to it. Let that region, therefore, be the highest. This reminds me of something I advise you to do before you go to sleep, is to think about what it is you'd like to learn. And then nod out. And when you get up, just as you get up, before you forget, because that thought is so fleeting, especially since you bring yourself back down to the concerns of the physical plane. And you write it down before you forget, before it disappears. This decadent of Sagittarius associated with the number 8. 8 is the balance, and 8 is Capricorn, which we'll do next. The 8 of Scepters is Capricorn, Sagittarius, Aries. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Aries is ruled by
Mars.
Mars. So here you see the assertive and aggressive, not aggressive as in I'm going to get up in your face, but aggressive as I'm going to get what I want. Nature of this decadent of Sagittarius. This decadent can be a little bit more impulsive, although fire signs are impulsive in general. But the Aries more so than the others, because it's cardinal, it's first. And like, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Cautions to think before you act. But it also can garner a political appointment or business through initiative. Be first. And the next decadent is Sagittarius, and it's illumination. So it's so wonderful how these things all come together. And why would it be illumination? This is Sagittarius, Leo.
Leo.
Because Leo
So
is ruled
what's
by
the big thing
sun.
about, huh?
Leo is ruled by the sun.
Leo is ruled by the sun. Now, all of these symbols are on the Egyptian tarot deck, which for me, since none of the other decks really appeal to me, made this deck more revealing. I was able to read this deck comfortably Because if I forgot a particular meaning, I just look at the symbols and think of the signs and their characteristics. And that is generally what was going on with that particular card.
Mhm.
In sleep, the soul wanders on the wings of its desires to the region most attractive to it. Oh, wait a minute. I read that already, didn't I? I sure did. This is the arrow that slew the Cyclops. And the dates for this are December 12th to 22nd. Again, the arrow of Sagittarius says it gets straight to the point. Sometimes not in considering how it will affect another person. This arrow has a steady trajectory, it travels to where it was aimed. So it can assist in exploration of the inner planes. This illumination is the illumination that softens reason. Because reason is like a rock. It's like lead. There's only one way to be. Whereas illumination can expand. You need reason because it assists in verifying the information that has been gleaned from other places. This celestial arrow of illumination also represents wisdom and love together. Because wisdom allows you to sit back and accept and then know that the only thing you can do is love. Illumination shows a light on that which you want. The devotion that you would like to express, the knowledge you'd like to secure. And in order to do all of that, concentration is the arrow that pierces the illusions of matter and makes possible high accomplishment. This decanate of Sagittarius corresponds to the number 9. 9 is the sage, and it's Aquarius. The 9 of scepters is ruled by Aquarius, Sagittarius, Leo, Jupiter, and the sun. So we have 2 friendly signs together, more friendly signs together. So this is the wise and profitable friendships. Leo rules the 5th house in children, so it's happiness from children. All of Sagittarius is talking about moving toward the inner plane, discovering the inner plane. So it talks about reliable intuition. And all of this happens in the natural 9th house, which is part of the Trinity of Life. The Trinity of Life are all fire signs. It's a cadent house. It's a public house because it's above the horizon. And it's on the west side. And cadent houses are the woodshed for the angular houses. That's how I see it. And do you know what I mean when I say it's a woodshed?
No.
Musicians, when they want to break through to a different level, they go to the woodshed and practice. Nobody hears this practice. which is a Caden house. It doesn't broadcast at a great volume. But the practice that is accomplished in the woodshed makes a breakthrough in their artistry. So I look at Caden, that's why I look at Caden houses as woodsheds for the angular houses, because the angular houses broadcast the most loud. All of the houses have their purpose. So what are the concerns of the ninth house? Public opinion, advertising and publishing.
Teaching,
Higher education and teaching. Broadening of your horizons. Long journeys.
long journeys.
Now it's also the house of dreams. Again, exploring the inner plane, and dreams are something that are on an inner plane. Fire signs in general are adventurous. Sagittarian maybe more so, because Sagittarian also carries with it the good will of Jupiter. And Jupiter is the natural ruler of this house. So whenever you're reading this house, you have to, it is a good idea to also consider the effects of Sagittarius and Jupiter on the sign that is occupying that particular house. Thank you, Clifford. Clifford said, follow the yellow brick road, easy on down the road. Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me now, RJ? Can everybody?
Oh,
hear
yeah,
me?
I went out and came back in.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, again, philosophy. Philosophy is a higher way of thinking. The number 9 is the number of divinity. And if you take a piece of paper and you write the numbers 0 to 1, 0 to 9, and then to the right of that list of numbers, you write the numbers 9 to 0, you have the 9 times table to 10. 9's the only number that does that. Any number whose sum adds up to 9 is divisible by 9.
Right.
So you see the other things which this house is concerned are laws, justice, divination. Illumination, visions. And the importance of harmonies, music, and then harmonious relations, harmonious environments.
Did you say music?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
It doesn't rule music per se, but it uses music as a boost to advancement.
Okay.
So, talking about harmonies, now I happen to think that I love dissonances, and different dissonances are when two notes sound so closely together they make a kind of a tension. But that's what I like, because when you release that tension, it just opens the whole thing up. And so here, the 9th house with Sagittarius knows how to use those types of harmonies. for spiritual advancement. Okay. I am rushing a little bit because I talk too much when I do the first sign. Maybe I should do the second sign first and the first sign second, so that you get a little bit more play. And I thought I was going to give you a pee break, but we don't have time. Just gonna have to hold it.
Or squirrels.
Very good. Okay, let's look at Capricorn. Church and religion, yeah. So let's go to Capricorn. Capricorn, the goat. Earth, movable, feminine. The third degree of emanation, I use. When explaining Capricorn, the famous person that I tend to remember first is Richard Nixon. And he holds the distinction of being a president who he was impeached, right? Well, so is
Mhm.
Boogerhead, but and so was Clinton. But his impeachment did lead him to resign from the office. So, and he was a Capricorn. He was also responsible for Watergate. So a lot of times people associate those kinds of things with Capricorns. But remember, Capricorn is an earth sign. And every earth sign I know is strong, practical, protective, warm, and loving. Every single Capricorn I know. Now, the symbol for the story that goes for this, how Capricorn acquired his symbol, is that several Greek deities were hanging out, and Pan was among them. And the monster Typhon who represents Saturn, decided to make himself known, and these other lesser deities were all afraid of him, so they all hid themselves away. And Pan jumped into the Nile. And because he they all assumed different physical characteristics. Well, because the bottom half was in the water, the bottom half of Pan became a fish, and the top half of Pan was a goat. And that's Capricorn. That's the symbol for Capricorn. You see that stylized symbol on the right side on the screen?
Mhm.
Is Capricorn. Yes, most of the signs all have, certainly the earth and the water signs all have more curves in them than do the fire and air signs. But most of the signs have curves in them. They're not all absolutely straight. Sagittarius is, Sagittarius, we have the arrow. Libra has that little hump. Gemini. Aquarius isn't straight. It's, it's a wiggly line. But yes, the earth and the water signs are all curved, and earth signs may have a couple more edges, but there's a softness about it, and that's the feminine. But Capricorn is ruled by the goat. This is symbolized by the goat. And goats generally inhabit mountains, on mountains. And they're sure and steady. And what do they steadily do on that mountain? Go up. They steadily climb up. Now, Capricorn, when the sun is in Capricorn, what else happens? That's the winter
Christmas?
solstice. And for 3 days in Sagittarius to Capricorn, the sun stays still. And then as it gets into Capricorn, then it starts to rise again. Just like that goat going up the mountain. And opposite what happens in Libra, now the days are starting to get longer and the nights shorter. Capricorn begins the promise of hope, the promise of growth, but you have to work for it. That's the earth. Earth is a symbol of struggle, the symbol of work, the symbol of perseverance. Now, the best quality of Capricorn is diplomacy. The worst quality is deceitfulness. And that was illustrated by, what's that guy's name? Just a minute, I'm gonna get it. Oh, Jacob. And his brother Esau. And Jacob took his brother, Esau was the older brother and should have gotten the blessing from his father. Esau was more Sagittarian, an outdoorsman, so his hands were rough. And Jacob was a trader, so he was a little softer, but Jacob had a different kind of ambition. So Daddy was getting ready to go to the next plane, and he wanted to bless his son before he left. And somehow Esau was sent out to do some hunting. And so Jacob made his hands rough and went to his father and received the blessing. His deceitfulness took Esau's birthright. So that's all Mr. Tricky Dick. However, you also it's also good to remember that Richard Nixon opened the doors to China. It was his diplomacy that started to repair the United States relationship with China. We're still not the best of friends. At least we're talking. And that was Richard Nixon. So that every sign has a positive and a negative manifestation. The key word for Capricorn is I use. Capricorn is from December 22nd to January 20th. And yes, it is the winter solstice. It's the time when the sun once again starts climbing to its highest point in the sky. It is a symbol of a tomb. Talking about those 3 days when the sun remains in one place at the same. I'm not gonna, because I know I'm gonna mess it up, so I'm not gonna go there. But it stays at the same place by the equator for 3 days, and then it starts to climb. And then it starts to achieve. What else do you know that waited for 3 days before anything positive happened? Or before new revelations and insights were given?
The resurrection.
Yeah. Christ was in the tomb for 3 days before the stone was rolled back, and he was able to inspire his disciples to go forth and teach.
Mhm.
So let me get the rest of this stuff out here for Capricorn. Now, because Capricorns want what they want, they have no problem bowing to authority. Especially when it's going to lead them to their goal. Capricorns often have to guard against material leanings, material advancement. Although they are great managers because they're so organized. And handle authority pretty well. As did Jacob with his father. Capricorns can assess a person's weakness and depending on where they want to go, they can take advantage of that. They're frugal. And frugal doesn't mean cheap. Frugal means that they generally know how to really use money. They can squeeze change out of a penny. So here it says, every environment offers opportunities for spiritual advancement, and he who makes good use of his present circumstances for spiritual ends will attract new opportunities. That's from Spiritual Astrology, Capricorn. Capricorn is represented by the balance in the major arcana. And because it's an earth sign, it is also represented, a person of Capricorn temperament is represented by the youth of swords. And it's a youth of swords, so it could be a young person, but it also could be a person with a youthful outlook. Excuse me. The first decanate of Capricorn is Capricorn, Capricorn. And Capricorn is what kind of sign? Quality?
Move.
Is movable. So it's going to be represented by the first decanate of Capricorn is going to be represented by
Capricorn.
and in the tarot it's going to be represented by the aces. And the first thing of Capricorn is Cygnus, an organization, which Capricorns have in spades. And when I moved to my first house, I asked my friend who was a Capricorn, please help me organize my kitchen. And she did, and it worked so wonderfully. I could find everything. Everything was right at hand where I needed it. Anyhow. And it talks about news from the Summerland, the practical use of Earth, how Capricorns are said to start out old, and as they get older, they become younger. And it's not so much younger, they get lighter. They don't take things as seriously. They know that everything's going to be all right, and they are so happy about it because they were so serious when they were young. So it's a nice thing. My one of my great nephews is a Capricorn, and God, he's an old man. Of course, then he has to live with his Aries mother. So that's always fun. And they're with a Scorpion brother. Big fun. Big fun. Anyhow, this is news from the Summerland because, of course, we're climbing up. The sun is going up to the top. It's the wisdom that follows maturity and experience. The practical use of spiritual currency. Under certain conditions, the stone is rolled from the entrance to the tomb, and man consciously exchanges ideas with those who have entered the chamber of death. What does that mean, the chamber of death? Those who have passed
The
through
astral
next-
plane.
Yeah. So this is Capricorn. It's a movable or cardinal sign. It's represented by the aces. And aces are associated with what card in the major arcanum?
The magician,
The Magus, yep, number 1. Magician in other decks, yes, thank you, Rodney. And the Magus is ruled by, it represents Mercury. So what's Mercury?
communication,
Messenger of the gods. So any of the aces talks about messages. Earth signs are swords. Earth signs talk about struggle and hard work.
Excuse me, Vanessa, can you explain how this is related to being ace and a sword? I don't
It's
understand.
the 8. Okay. You play cards?
Not really. I mean, long
But
time
do you
ago
know
I have.
do you know the suits in a deck of cards?
Yeah, king, queen, jack.
No, those are the members
Oh,
of
the
the
heart,
suit.
spades, clubs, and diamonds.
Right. Well, that's what the deck of cards was taken from the Sacred Tarot. It is the minor arcanum of the Sacred Tarot,
Mm-hmm.
a deck of cards. So swords, the Ace of Swords is just one of those card in that deck. And swords are associated with earth signs. Swords talk about some kind of struggle, some kind of combat. And earth signs are well equipped to fight the struggle of this plane because of their practicalness and their perseverance. So that's how this particular ace is the Ace of Swords.
Okay.
Capricorn is the Ace of Swords.
Oh, for that deacon.
Right,
Deaconate. Okay,
yes. Okay, okay.
okay, kind of got it.
Because it's an ace, it has the influence of Mercury, the influence of Capricorn, and the influence of Saturn. Talks about news of sickness or death. I have to go through the next, I'm so sorry. I've overextended. I can't go but so much detail for the next two deaconates because we're going to be going over time. Does anybody have any problem with that?
No.
Okay, so, but unfortunately, I'm going to go quickly. I suggest that you take a look at serial 81 in spiritual astrology, and of course, again, look over serial 46 and 47 in astrological signatures. The next deaconate of Capricorn is Capricorn Taurus, and talks about the dolphin makes a rescue. Dolphins are associated with have a positive association. They are do good deeds. So Delphius, it talks about a dolphin who saved a poet who is going to be executed by sailors who were taking him to an island because he had made so much money as a lute player. And he stopped and he played the lute for them. And of course, he had them mesmerized. And instead of them throwing him off the boat and killing him and taking his money, he was able to jump off the boat, and dolphins came and saved him and brought him safely to shore. This deacon of Capricorn also talks about repentance and restitution. So an idea upon which Alcoholics Anonymous was founded. As part of one of the steps towards control is to make restitutions to those they've harmed while they were drinking. And so here we want to seek to rescue ourselves. Again, we're talking about positive thoughts, because not only are these thoughts attracting to us that which we want on this plane, they are also building the vehicle to be used when we go to the next plane, our astral body. Man, by his thoughts, his emotions, and his actions on earth, builds for himself a home in a higher realm where he will dwell after passing from the physical plane. Thoughts are things, people.
Here's something I found on the web. According to Wikipedia.
Cancel. Alexa, cancel. I'm sorry. She decides to talk at the most inopportune times. Okay, so now we have the last deaconate. Oh, I'm sorry. And here we're talking about the Two of Swords associated with Isis veiled. Isis is Virgo, is science. Obstacles overcome by love, gained through perseverance. The Two of Swords, it has influence from Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, because it's Capricorn, Taurus. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, Taurus ruled by Venus. So this is the softer side of Cap. Did I say that this side of Cap was from January 1st to January 10th?
Okay.
And the last decanate of Capricorn is Capricorn Virgo, Saturn and Mercury influence. It's Pisces Australis, well, and it's idealism. When doing this research, I was reminded that, if we think traditionally, Christ was a Capricorn. And who paved the way for this Capricorn? John the Baptist, who was a Cancerian. That's why he baptized people, water.
Water, okay.
This talks about undertaking of worthwhile work produces protective energy. And those in this decan of Capricorn who do undertake worthwhile work are often helped by entities on other planes. Now, these are benefic or positive entities from other planes. From the inner planes, it is possible for man to attract any information whatsoever he is capable of utilizing. So Capricorn knows how to use things well. I use Capricorn. And each decanate uses things with the influence of the second sign in that decan. Delphinus and martyrdom has that Venus influence. Pisces Australis and idealism has that Virgo influence. This is the third decanate of Capricorn. The number 3 in the major arcanum is Isis unveiled. 3 is also the number of,
The Empress? Or,
no.
I don't know.
The Trinity,
Trinity. And the
unity,
Trinity is the number of, and
3,
Trinity symbolizes,
Light, life,
Mhm.
light, and love.
yeah, what else? Something more basic. Elemental, not basic. Well, yes, it's basic. It's a foundation. What does the Trinity symbolize?
Oh, positive, negative, and union.
Union, yeah, the family, union, positive, negative, and union. So this is a marriage number.
Okay.
It's a partnership number. So it's Isis veiled, which is Libra. And what is Libra? Partnership sign.
Mhm.
Is the 3 of Swords, which has the influence of Libra, Capricorn, and Virgo, Saturn and Mercury. Because it's swords, it's going to bring some kind of difficulty to overcome. So lawsuits or divorce. Organized activity to overcome adversity. And you blend the ideal with the practical. We're going straight through to the 10th house, which is part of the Trinity of Wealth. And the Trinity of Wealth holds all of the earth signs. It's an angular sign, so whatever you were doing in the work, in the woodshed in Sagittarius, will see its manifestation in the 10th house. Can see its manifestation in the 10th house. It is above, so it's available for people to see, and it's on the east. The 10th house talks about the mother or the more dominant parent. I have a friend who, when his wife had their first baby, he asked her if he could stay home and take care of the baby. And she was good with that. So the more dominant parent here would be him, not the mother, but the father. Because the person who has a major responsibility for the rearing of children tends to be the more dominant parent. The bond is different. Does career, business, reputation, that's important. So anything in the 10th house is going to have to deal with reputation. So if Mars were in the 10th house, so a person's reputation might be somebody who's assertive and go-getter or combative, belligerent. Person with moon in the 10th house, their reputation fluctuates in and out, just like the tides that are controlled by the moon. This is the house of government, any authority. So a boss to some extent. It's also the house of politics and politicians. I do realize that I ran through the last two decadents. So please, 81, I think is what I said. Read 81. And if I haven't before, I really, everybody look at chat, because I really recommend it. It just sheds more light on the tarot and astrology. It's published by the AFA, American Federation of Astrologers. And I do believe that it's one of the books that's in the bookstore of the Church of Light.
Okay.
It's a good book, and it's one that I have used as reference for the information I presented to you.
What's it
Doris,
called?
look in your chat. I wrote it down.
I don't
for
see
every-
it in the
Oh,
chat.
that's because I didn't
Okay.
hit enter. I'm sorry.
Oh, I got it. Thank
Poor
you.
woman. But Doris Chaystone was a member of the Church of Light. She conducted research projects using astrological charts for the church. She knew the man, Zane. And some of our members who were active in the 70s had the opportunity to know her. So we are done.
Thank you.
And then
That was a
And
good class.
I'm going to do the closing ritual. Yes, Vega.
I was just gonna say, if you've never heard of Lynn Palmer, she's also one of our
Right.
famous astrologers. Look her up online, and we carry a lot of her books. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, so please orient yourself for prayer.